Are you tired of hearing, I need to think about it, or let me talk to my insurance first on your discovery calls, or worse, even just getting ghosted altogether? In this episode, we're pulling back the curtain on the secrets to running discovery calls that actually build trust, connect with your ideal cash paying clients, and help them get out of their own way to make the decision that they already know they need to make to get the help that they need and want, all without feeling pushy or salesy. So let's dive in and make sure that you never lose another lead again.
We're going to go through a discovery call flow, how to handle obstacles, and how to handle objections. The difference between an obstacle and an objection: an obstacle is something that comes up before the price is given, and an objection is something that comes up after the price is given, right? So we've got to overcome these obstacles along the way to help them get on board, and then we've got to overcome the objections at the end to help them stick to their decision to help themselves and come in. Now, there's more that plays into this than just how the call goes, right? You can go hard on trying to have a better call flow and objection handle and do all these things, and this phone call gets a lot easier if you just have more qualified leads coming in. So also making sure that you're paying attention to where your leads are coming from, excuse me, where your best leads come from and where the leads come from that maybe aren't that great. That way you can keep an eye on your marketing and develop relationships further, or maybe even stop putting effort to develop relationships that aren't that fruitful, or that you don't get people that align with your, along with your values as well. So, if you have a referral source that people call from and they're super price averse and they never come in, or they're inconsistent, or they're just like not a pleasure to work with, then you might just not want to facilitate that relationship anymore. So you'll notice this here is called the discovery call flow. It is kind of a script, right? But the difference between a script and a flow is that one is that you're kind of flowing naturally with the conversation, and you're not strictly following the script. We don't want to strictly follow a script because that's not how conversations go. If you record your call, if you have a Mac, you can simply do it on a QuickTime player. If you have a CRM, you can probably just record it right in your CRM, which is a customer relationship management software. Some states are required for you to announce legally that the call is being recorded. So if you are recording it and it's required in your state and you don't have something that's automatically announcing it, just let them know, hey, this call is being recorded for quality purposes. So you get into it. If you think of any movie that you've ever seen, you got to realize that those are all scripted, right? And why is that important? Because it doesn't sound like they're reading a script, right? They know exactly what they want to say and how they want to say it, because they know the emotions that they're trying to impart with that script. And there's a little bit of ad lib and a little bit of freedom to kind of be flexible with what they say and how they say it. If somebody wanted to be read to, they would just listen to Audible. If you listen to a phone call and you cringe, good. You should be listening to your phone calls and you should be cringing, because that's how you're going to get better. Even the ones that go well, listen to those and you'll still probably cringe. You're like, why would I say that? Why would I say it like that? But listening to those things is going to give you a lot of, growth, right? Feedback. It should sound like a conversation that's naturally, organically happening with your friends. And a lot of times people put fillers in there at the end of whatever, like as a transition, end of a sentence. They're like, how's your day going so far? Okay, cool. And then they have that one thing that they do. Okay, so, or cool, or awesome. Or they put on this like just annoyingly positive telemarketer voice. Hey, John, how's your day going today? Oh, that's amazing. And if you're like super over positive, that sets off people's bullshit meter, right? Like, people are very good at protecting themselves and sensing when things are off. And, just think of, any sales environment that you've been in, whether it's buying a car or telemarketer or whatever it might be, and the person is just super positive all the time, and it kind of rubs you the wrong way. You don't want to do that over the phone. You don't want to have a smile on your face, because people actually can tell, right? It does really affect the way that you're talking. Even if you just look at me right now, I'm using my hands, and my tonality matches my hands and my body language. Like when I'm talking, what I'm doing with my body, very important. If I just sit here and I'm like talking like this, like it's going to come off very differently if I just stay in here and I don't move, especially if I'm sitting and I'm not moving, then I'm going to have a very flat tone typically, like I do right now. Versus when I go to move around and I can talk and move with my hands and walk around, that's when you get the best natural tonality, natural emphasis on things, and you can really be yourself. So if you take a call sitting there, right, holding your phone, put on speakerphone, stand up, walk around if you need to, or at least stand up and take the calls and put in effort to be extra animated with your hands. Nothing bad's going to come of it, only good things. Okay, so when we kick this off, outbound calls, specifically, meaning somebody's booked a call and they've asked you to call them either on a call calendar or whatever, you've met with them and they said, call me at 3 p.m. on Friday, then you just call them like a normal person, like ring, ring, and I say, hello, and you'll be like, hey, John? Yep. Hey, it's just Doc Raj from Move. How's your day or week going so far? Now, I don't go deep into this like rapport building shit that people just like, they go off the walls of like, how's the weather and how's this and oh my God, and like be genuine. If it's raining outside and you guys are a local service-based business, then you can mention the weather, right? But make it relevant. So, you know, hey, how's your day going so far? If it's a Monday or if it's a Tuesday, like, how's your week going so far? Or like, hey, you got whatever, we're fill in the blank, right? And they'll tell you, and usually they'll ask you back, like, yeah, it's pretty good. You know, just doing whatever, getting home from work. How's your day going? Because it's like the polite thing to do. And if they ask, actually give them a little bit of insight into what you're doing. So you are a genuine human and you don't have like this canned response of, oh yeah, you know, it's going well. So let me hop into this. Like, let them know. Like, hey, yeah, awesome. I was actually just finishing up with a client, you know, had to send some messages, update their home exercise program, send something to their doctor, whatever. Now I'm just here chatting with you. Looking forward to it. Anyways, I know we kind of have a little bit amount of time here, and that's kind of like the transition. Anyways, or so. But that's it. That's the rapport. Hey, John. Yep. Hey, it's Doc Raj from Move Athletics. How's your day going? Oh, it's kind of shitty. Oh, yeah? Why is it shitty? Oh, well, you know, some stuff happened at work and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, yeah, I get it, man. You know, I'm over here just, and even if they don't ask you, you can just roll it. I'm over here just finishing up, doing some paperwork so we can, you know, help some clients get better. I got just updated some home exercise programs because we send everybody like custom videos after their appointments so they know what to do at home. But listen, I know we have a little bit limited amount of time here. Are you ready to jump in? Like, are you in a place where you can fully devote your attention for the next 15 or 20 minutes? And that just you want them to be in what we call a buying environment, right? If they're like driving down the road, they're at their kid's soccer game, they're on a construction site, you probably want to reschedule it. You know, it's like, yeah, it's a good time. Or if you're skeptical, like you hear shit in the background, like, are you sure it's now still a good time to connect? I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing this. Like, okay, awesome. So you have the time. Like you're going to be doing anything else during this time because, you know, I'm just asking because it's very important that we are able to have your full attention because we want to make sure we have all of the information that we need before you come in to make sure that we're the best place. I think that'll kick people in the ass. Of like, oh shit, okay, well hold on, yeah, give me a second, and they'll walk away from whatever they're doing, and they'll give you their attention. And if it's not, you can't hear them, or it's a weird thing, just say, hey, it seems like it would be best for us to reschedule. I can't hear you very well right now. It seems like there's a lot going on. Whatever. These conversations are very important to us, you know. And right there, I just reversed it, but whatever. It's very loud. I'm having a hard time hearing you now. What's a good time to call you back? And just reschedule because if they're half in it. Like, we need to get deep in this emotional level and get their buy-in and build this relationship. And if they're half distracted and they're yelling at people on a job site, like, yeah, it's probably not the best, right? And then I always want to dive in before we start and find out how do they find us if you don't already know. Like, awesome, John. And just before we begin, just so I know, how did you find us? And you'll notice how I do these like tonality inflections up and down, and I have these little pauses and these little stutters. And all of that is extremely intentional. If you're reading perfectly off of a script, then it's going to feel weird because people don't talk perfectly. They pause, they stutter, and you have to have what we call implied thoughtfulness. And that only comes from your tonality, your pausing, your pacing, and those little stutters. Like, awesome. And just before we begin, just so I know, like how did you find us? Right? Like, it sounds like I'm thinking of that question as I'm saying it, but it's right here. I know what I'm going to ask. And that draws them in. They're like, oh, what's he thinking of? Like, I want to know. Oh, yeah, I found you on Google, right? Or, yeah, my friend referred me. Oh, that's awesome. Do you mind sharing who, just so we can thank them? And then they'll tell you who referred them. And you can thank them. Hey, thanks. Got a referral from you. Really appreciate it. And if you have any type of referral rewards, gift card or something, we don't right now, just so you know. But if you do, you can then distribute that, right? And if they Googled, it's like, oh, gotcha. What were you Googling? Just so you know, like, what terms are they looking for? What are they? And write this stuff down, right? Like, what were they searching? How were they finding you? What caused you to pop up? And then you want to find out, did they dig deeper, right? Oh, okay, cool. So did you have a chance to check out like our website or our Instagram? Instagram for us is big because we put a lot of content. And then if they say, oh, yeah, I went to your Instagram or I went to your website, and gotcha. So what was it about our website or our Instagram that made you want to reach out? And this does a couple of things, right? It lets you know what's attention grabbing for the people that are calling you, which we want to know, right? We want to know, what marketing are we doing that's being effective? What was the thing that pulled them in? But then also it gets them telling not only you, but telling themselves at the beginning of this call out loud why they want to work with you, right? You're not here to try to convince them to work with you. They're the ones with a problem. You're the one with the solution. Why do they want your help, right? So it's kind of like they're selling themselves on this. And that's really what sales is. It's like they have a problem, you have a solution, and then the money is just a transference of trust. Once they overcome the fear that they have of spending money and not getting a result, which is very real, So, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, oh, yeah, I went to your website and you guys have a picture of like someone doing a bent over row, and you talked a lot about the things like I'm an athlete, and it's like I've been somewhere else and they didn't have that. And it was like a bunch of old ladies doing silly band exercises and whatever. Like, oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. And then you just dive right into it, right? So this okay, cool is my transition here. Once they're like, oh, I saw these things. Okay, cool. So what I found to work best on these calls, so you're kind of setting expectations, you're framing the call here so they know what to expect. What I found to work best on these calls is first just diving deeper into the specifics of your situation, and what you might have tried in the past, what you're doing now, if anything, and how all that's working for you, and then really ultimately what you feel like are the specific challenges that are maybe keeping you from moving forward. And then once we get some clarity around that, if we can help, I'm more than happy to kind of walk you through the process if you want. And if not, we can just kind of figure out whatever else is best. Really, it's whatever you need. Cool? And they're like, yeah, that's cool. And you can change anything you want, right, for these transitions, but we just don't want to say makes sense over and over and over and over and over again. That's what people do. Make sense, make sense, make sense. If you ask a patient, does that make sense? They say yes, even if it doesn't make any sense, because they don't want you to think that they're dumb, right? If you ask a patient, hey, did I explain that well? You'll get a very different answer most of the time than if you say, does that make sense? Because now it's on you not explaining it well, not on them for not understanding it. So this is really important to kind of just let them know, but you don't want to pause here for too long after forward, because they'll start talking right there. Say how that's working. Ultimately, we feel there's specific challenges keeping you from moving forward. And if you pause, they're going to start talking. They're like, yes, this is what's going on. So it's like maybe a brief pause, specific challenges keeping you from moving forward. Then take a little pause there so they know you're going to say something else. Once we get some clarity there, if we can help, like I've got to find out if we can even help. If we can help, I'm more than happy to do this thing if you want me to. And if not, we're just here to help you in whatever way we can. Cool? Great. Cool. You could say sound good, sound reasonable, sound fair. All those are yes answers. And they'll say, yeah. And then they might start trying to talk right there. And if they're giving you good information, you might let them go. But we always want to be the one asking the questions, because if whoever's asking the questions is the one that controls the conversation. We always want to control the conversation, and we want them talking. The cadence here throughout this whole thing should be you talking like 20 to 30% of the time and them talking 70 to 80% of the time. And your talking only comes at the end when you're explaining your solution to their problem, which you should try to customize to their problem. As you get better at this, then you'll be able to simultaneously create your solution as an explanation as to why nothing they've tried in the past has worked and why this is going to work, right? Why your solution is the solution and why nothing else in the past has worked for them. So you always want to be the one asking the questions, and you don't want to get them to go rambling too far. We're going to try to get from point A to point B in as straight a line as possible. But there's going to be some ups and downs. Your job is to put the guardrails on it to pull them back around. We don't want them like going all over to Jupiter and Uranus, right? We want them from A to Z in the straightest line possible. You'll say, cool. And they'll be like, yep, sounds cool. And we're like, all right. So with that being said, what's your biggest challenge right now? Like, what's the main problem with your knee that you need help with? If you know what the body part is, right? If you don't know what their body part is, what's the main problem you need help with? And now notice like my facial expression and my hands. I'm like, I'm confused, right? Like, what's the main problem with your knee that you need help with? And that comes, all of this, the facial expressions, the hands, that all comes out on the other end as curiosity, right? It comes across in my tonality versus, hear this. That being said, what's the biggest challenge you have right now? What's the main problem with your knee you need help with? The tonality matters a lot, right? Even if we go back up here and I'm like, hey, John, it's Roger from Move. How's your day going? Oh, awesome. I was just doing some notes and finishing up. So anyways, listen, I know we have a limited amount of time. Are you ready to jump in? You got 15, 20 minutes to devote your attention. Like, that's a very different message, right? So how you say the words is more important than the words that you say a lot of the time. You and I can use the same exact words and get very, very different outcomes based on the tonality, the pacing, things like that. So then, once they come down, they're going to tell you once you get down here, they're going to tell you what their body part is. If you need more information, just say, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Right? And don't say their name over and over and over. Again, if you're talking to your friend, you're not like, hey, Roger, what about this? Roger, can you tell me this? Hey, that's really great information, Roger. People go overboard. Like, they want to hear their name. People like the sound of their name, but you don't do that in normal conversation, right? So don't do it here, because then you're just some weird sales guy or girl. So tell me a little bit more, right? And they'll tell you a little bit more. I have this knee pain. It hurts when I run. Gotcha. So can you tell me more about that? And they'll just tell you whatever comes to mind that they want to tell you. Oh, yeah, it's like in the front of my knee. It's been going on for 6 months, blah, 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 blah. Gotcha. And then always just clearing it up. Acknowledge that you've heard them. That's what I use, the gotcha, or understood, or whatever. Or you can just say, okay, right, and just start off there. Hurting for 6 months when I run. I can't go to CrossFit, and I can't do yoga either. Okay. And just so I know, is the knee the only thing you're dealing with, or is there anything else that you're maybe looking for help with as well? Because a lot of times people have other shit they want help with, right? You can only help somebody with one thing in the insurance-driven world per appointment, right? Legally with the referral and all that stuff. But it also lets you know, and it makes the gap bigger, which is part of the whole purpose of sales, right? These conversations is to create a bigger gap. If someone thinks they're here and they want to be here, it's our job to widen the gap as much as possible, and that's what these questions do. They think they're here, but actually they're back here. And maybe they say these are their goals, but their goals are really over here. And then we position ourselves as the bridge to that gap. So you have to forget everything that you were taught about making patients feel better about their pain. If you're like, oh yeah, that's not a big deal. Like, you don't have to really worry too much about that. It happens all the time. Like, you'll get better. Then if it's not a big deal, why the hell are they going to come pay you a decent amount of money to solve something that's not a big deal? Make sense? We don't want to be nocibic towards them, but we need them to realize, like, oh shit, I need this help. And if you're just like, yeah, no, yeah, it's totally fine. Like, this is easy stuff. It gets better all the time. And okay, well, what do I have to pay you a premium to come work on easy things that just get better all the time? Right? Logically, doesn't make sense. And here's the thing. People buy with emotion and then they justify with logic. Period. Anything that you've like just emotionally thought about wanting, whether it's a new car, a watch, a pair of shoes, a jump rope, a barbell, whatever it is, and you're just like, man, I want to buy this thing, I want to buy this thing, I want to buy this thing, and maybe you put it off until at some point you're like, oh, here's how I justify buying it. Because emotionally, you wanted that thing, and it took you however long to come up with the logical rationale to support you buying it. So emotionally, you wanted it, and then you logically justified it, and then you made the purchase. We need both the emotion and the logic in these conversations. So then they'll tell you, okay, cool. I also have elbow pain. Noted. All right. So elbow pain, but the knee's like the primary concern right now, right? Yeah. Okay. So in regards to the knee, what are you having pain or difficulty with doing? Hobbies, exercise, just activities or whatever in your daily life. And they'll tell you, boom, boom, boom. If you need more information, ask them to tell me more. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And then if you haven't already gotten this information, how long has that been going on? How's that affecting you? Has that had an impact on you? In what way? And sometimes people skip over these because they're like, they've already told me. But these are different levels of questions, right? Take somebody that can't run because of their knee pain, right? Hey, I have knee pain. Is that the only thing? Yeah, well, I have a little bit of back issues. That might cue you in. Like, maybe their knee pain's from their back. Gotcha, but the knee's the most important thing? Yes. All right, so what are you having pain or difficulty with doing? Well, running hurts. Gotcha. Is it just running, or are there any other like hobbies or exercise activities or just like daily life stuff that bothers you? Well, yeah, when I sit for a period of time, like it hurts, and then going, downstairs hurts as well. Oh, okay. So how long has this been going on for? See, that implied thoughtfulness. Oh, like six months. Gotcha. So before 6 months ago, you didn't have any pain? Well, no, it's just been getting worse over the last 6 months. Like it's been on and off for like the last couple of years. Oh, see, now bigger gap. Instead of 6 months, it's been going on for years. Okay. And how is that affecting you? Like not, sorry, just pause there. Like how's that affecting you? I'm like, well, I can't run so I can't go to my run groups. Gotcha. I can't do the things that I enjoy, right? And then has that had not going to your run groups, has that had an impact on you? So it gets layers deep, right? So it's like, hey, how is this knee pain affecting you? Oh, I can't run. Okay, well, how is not running affecting you? Well, and you don't use the same word affect twice. That's why I switched it to impact. But either way, whichever information you have, either it's like, hey, I can't run. Okay, how's not being able to run impacting you? Well, I can't go to my run groups, and that sucks. Not being able to go to your run groups, has that had an impact on you? Now we're at an emotional level. And they'll say, what, you mean like emotionally? Like, yeah, like that sounds terrible. Yeah, well, it's kind of my social life, and this is my stress relief, and this, and this. And it's like, oh, okay, now we've got the emotional level as to why this knee pain is important to this person, right? And that'll come more natural as you do this. It feels weird at first to like dig deep into this, but nobody has adverse reactions unless you ask the questions poorly. If the question doesn't land well, you've either asked it inappropriately because you're following a script and not paying attention to the conversation, or you've just asked the question poorly itself. If someone's like, yeah, I've had pain with running, can't sit, can't walk downstairs. How's it been going on? It's been going on for 6 months. Gotcha. So you haven't been able to run for 6 months? Yeah, well, I mean, I was still running with pain, and it's probably been like 2 or 3 months that I just haven't been able to run at all. Oh, so not being able to run, how is that affecting you? Well, I mean, it sucks because like that's my social circle and my stress relief, and it's just I feel a little depressed. Yeah, so not being able to go to your social circle and have that stress release, has that had an impact on you? They're like, yeah. And you can just kind of cut in. Like, in what way, though? I'm like, well, I'm a little depressed, honestly, and sad and blah, blah, blah. And they'll go down the list of things. And then you can just bring it back because we're pulling out the emotion. We have to get the emotion attached to whatever it is. And unless they've explicitly stated it to you, they don't know that you know, and they're not in that emotional state. These questions are designed to put them in that emotional state, because when it comes down to the end of the call, we need the pain of staying where they are to be worse than the pain of spending the money, right? We need the pain of, not their knee pain, the pain of not being able to go to their run group, the pain of feeling depressed, of feeling anxious, the pain of not having that stress outlet, that pain of losing their identity as a runner, as a lifter, as whatever it is. We need the pain that we're comparing the cost of spending the money on. Hopefully that makes sense. So if they start giving you all of this information right up front, sometimes people will hop right in and you'll be like, cool, tell me what's your biggest challenge right now. And they'll tell you everything rather than they'll just word vomit. As long as they're giving you good information, you can just let them talk. Don't go back and ask these questions if they've already told you. If they're like, hey, I'm here for knee pain because, true story, by the way, I'm here for knee pain because, I'm here for knee pain, and it's really important to me because I can't run and I want to lose 20 pounds. And, I really, I want to lose 20 pounds because I want to divorce my husband and I want to feel confident and sexy in my own skin. And I'm just like, I'm really miserable right now and I don't like myself. And that's what I need help with. It's like, okay, cool. You could ask, so how long has this knee pain been keeping you from being able to run and build that confidence in yourself, right? Bringing it back to the emotional things I said. 6 months, a year, 2 years, however long. Gotcha. And then I would say, not being able to build that confidence in yourself, the emotional thing, has that had an impact on you? Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to leave this relationship. I'm not doing that. I feel like a terrible person. I feel blah, 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 whatever they put in there. So, okay. So besides just getting rid of this knee pain, ultimately, like, what's your big picture goal specifically? And maybe they just restate what they wanted there. If it was an example like the lady that wanted to leave her husband, my big picture goal is to feel confident and sexy in my skin so I can leave my relationship confidently and go out there and meet new people. Okay. And then you also know that there's more things that you're going to be working on, hopefully, than just knee pain and running, right? That's going to be, maybe we want to look at different ways and help them accomplish that goal differently, because we can help them accomplish that goal, and being able to run and not have knee pain is a side effect, right? But really, they're not here for knee pain. They want it to go away, but they're here to, look good, feel confident, whatever. And that's the goal you're working towards, which means maybe you're looking at their nutrition with them, which you probably should be with everybody, and the different types of training and educating them on strength training and different ways besides running to help them accomplish that goal, while also working on the knee pain and getting them back to running. Sometimes people just have these goals because they don't know what else to do. And then they're super grateful that you've been able to guide them in the right direction, because their goals might not even, the way they want to get to their goal might not even align with the best way to get there. And we're not getting into that on the call. That's after they've come in and you've built a relationship with them and you're having more meaningful interactions, like in person, and you have that relationship built with them. If it's somebody that comes in and they're like, well, I'm having shoulder pain with pressing, right? Like, okay, now is it just overhead pressing? Is it bench pressing or overhead pressing? Oh, it's overhead pressing. Gotcha. So is there any other like activities throughout your day or hobbies or just like stuff in your daily life that causes that shoulder pain? Oh yeah, well, I also feel it when I'm sitting at my desk and when I'm trying to sleep at night. Oh, okay. Tell me a little bit more about that. How long has that been going on? Oh, it's been, the pain at night has been on and off for like the last 4 years. Gotcha. Okay. So then like not being able to press overhead, how's that affecting you? Well, it's just messing up my training program, man. Like I feel super limited in the gym and I'm not able to hit the heavy things that I want. Well, has that has that had an impact on you? What do you mean? Has it had an impact on me? Well, like not being able to press and like hit your goals. How else has that impacted you? See, same question, just flipped a little bit differently. Oh, well, it's just frustrating, right? It's super frustrating because I've tried all of these things, and now we get the emotional part. I've tried this, I've tried that, I've rested, I've done this. And it's like, and then you're getting some information we're going to ask for later on in the call. But it's not following the script per se. It's it's having a conversation, right? And then we always want to find out, okay, cool. So then, just besides if they haven't already told you, like my goal is I want to compete at this, I want to do this thing, I want to do that. And even if they have, we want to verify with them. Like, okay, so besides just getting rid of this shoulder pain, your big picture goal is to be able to clean and jerk 120 kilos. Is that right? Or is there something else that's like your big picture goal specifically? Nope, that's it. Or nope, I want to do this other thing. Okay, gotcha. And so this has been going on for, however long they said, XYZ amount of time. This has been going on for 6 months. This has been going on for 3 years. Was there a moment where you decided to like draw a line in the sand and realize that you need to take care of this now though? Like what happened? That question brings them back emotionally to the moment that they decided to get help, right? Which is where we need them. Like, what happened? You've been doing it for 6 months. Why not wait another 6 months? Like, why now? But we don't want to just ask, why do you want help now? Right? Like, bring them back to the moment. There always is a moment where they're like, I'm going to take care of this. And it might just be that they were scrolling and they saw you and they thought, I don't know. I saw you guys at this workshop and I thought maybe they can help me. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Or I was scrolling and the stuff that you guys were saying really caught my attention. I thought maybe I'll give it another go. Right. Another way that you could ask that if somebody has, told you that they've tried a whole bunch of different things already. And they're like, well, I've tried chiro and I've tried acupuncture and I've had surgery and I've done this. And it's like, so listen, you've tried a lot of things over the last 10 years. I'm just curious, like, what has you keeping on? Like, what has you still looking for a solution? And they'll tell you, this is it, man. I'm not going to settle for this. I've tried this, like, or I had given up hope and I saw you guys and I thought, maybe it's worth one more go. Maybe they can help me. And you want to pull out all these emotions. And then you just transition. After they say that, it's just, gotcha. And if you don't have this information, you get onto it, right? What have you tried so far to get help with this? Don't ask that question if they just told you that all the things that they've tried. And I'm also not a big fan of recapping everything at the end. Like, all right, so you've tried all of these things. Is that right? Like, if you miss one, they might feel not heard. You could say, hey, I know you said that you've tried a bunch of things. Was there anything in there that you like specifically didn't like? And they'll tell you what they didn't like. And then you can say, hey, is there anything in there that you did like? I really like the dry needling. I really like the chiropractor. I really liked this. I really didn't like the chiropractor. I really didn't like the needling. I really didn't like whatever. And then you can kind of tailor your conversation in your transition that's coming up around the things that they did like and the things that they didn't like. And if they haven't told you what they've tried so far, like, just ask. Gotcha. So what have you tried so far as like getting help with this thing? Oh, well, I tried PT before, twice. Gotcha. How long did you do that for? Oh, I went for like 6 months the first time, like 3 weeks the second time. How long ago was that? Oh, that was 2 years ago. Gotcha. I mean, did you like it? I mean, not really. Oh, okay. What didn't you like about it? And find out, right? And if you're like, did you like it? And they say, yeah, it was good. Okay. I guess besides the fact that you're still having this problem, is there anything that you didn't like about it? Because you want them to tell us what they didn't like about the things. And if you ask, if you ask, did you like it? And they say, yeah, I did. You can't ask, well, what did you like about it? There. Well, I really liked the exercises. I really liked this. I really liked that. Okay, cool. And then besides the fact that besides the fact that you're still having this problem, is there anything that you didn't like about it? Now, if somebody spent any considerable amount of time with anybody doing their rehab, they like that person typically, right? They've built a bit of a relationship and they feel bad saying that they didn't get help, but they didn't get the help. That's why they're talking to you. They'll say, no, they really help. They really help. It was so much worse and now it's less bad, but now they're still seeing you for it. So they didn't solve their problem, but they don't want to speak negatively about somebody because they feel poorly because they know that person was trying to help them and they had a relationship built and they just feel bad saying it. So people will default to, yeah, it was all right. Well, what did you like? And I'll tell you, well, I liked when I got this attention. I liked this thing that they did. Gotcha. And then this is the out, right? So besides the fact that you're still having this problem, if they really like the person and they're like, no, it was great. Everything was great. Besides this fact, is there anything else? Nope. That's just it. Okay, cool. Have you tried anything else? What else have you tried? Then you just kind of go through this over and over and over again until you've gotten through all of the things that they've done. Unless they word vomited early, then you don't do any of that. And we can just jump down to this. All right, so once you get through all of that, okay, and then just so I understand, what do you feel like in your mind is the biggest barrier that's keeping you from moving forward and making progress right now? Right? Because we want to know in their mind, what's the biggest barrier? A lot of it would be, I just don't know what to do. Right? I feel like I've tried everything. I don't know where to go. I've got all this information. I don't know how to organize it. I'm just completely lost. My barrier is that nobody's been able to answer my questions. Whatever it is, then and you can kind of, again, customize all that information into your transition down here. So then in this transition, it's, you just acknowledge that. Oh, my biggest barrier is that I just have no idea what to do. I've tried so many things. There's so much conflicting advice on the internet. My doctor says one thing, my PT said another. And, I try to listen to them both. And in the end, I still have pain and I don't really know where to go. Gotcha. Well, I don't really have any more questions for you at this point. Is there anything at all that you feel that I need to know that I haven't asked yet? Caveat there, be careful. What I just did is I put emphasis on the word you. I don't have any more questions for you at this point. That tonality is a mistake, right? Don't do that. That implies that it's their turn to ask questions, and I don't want them asking questions. So that's why I don't even have the word you in here, right? I don't really have any more questions at this point. Is there anything at all that you feel that I need to know about that I haven't asked about? Which is giving them the opportunity to think and bring up things that they think are good information that I might have not known about. Oh, yeah, by the way, I had the surgery. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is one thing. Oh, yeah, by the way, I have this appointment coming up, whatever it is. Cool. Well, John, based on everything that you've told me, we can definitely help. You want to be certain in that tonality. John, based on everything you've told me, we can definitely help. To be honest, you're exactly the kind of person that we see at our clinic. And then this is all tailored to them a little bit. And what they said, hey, traditional PT is going to be way, way too low level for somebody like yourself. Everybody that comes into our clinic is pushing it, whether it's through exercise, training for that half marathon like you are, or, just training for some type of event. Through exercise, hiking, or training for some type of event. Whatever, fill in there. So there's a couple options, but throw in exactly what they're doing. Whether it's exercise, just having a really physical job like yourself, or training for some type of event. Those people, like you, can't go to the run-of-the-mill PT clinic because really all it is some low-level stretching, some silly band work, and no actual solutions to your problem. They're going to be like, oh, my God, ha, 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 yeah, the stupid band, I still have pain. And you're like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yes, I do know. You're like, yeah, everybody that goes in for a knee problem, they get handed the exact same sheet. So it's you and the sedentary 80-year-old lady next to you that are doing the exact same exercises. And they're like, oh my God, yes, you're right. So again, what am I doing here? I'm simultaneously explaining why nothing they've tried in the past has worked and why we have the solution. Because you push it way too hard for that. Yes, I do. We're tying an identity to them here as well, where now they are the type of person that needs more than the traditional medical system can give them in their past experiences. Usually, if they've been through the system, they support that. And if they haven't been through the system, you're shortcutting the process of what to expect and setting those expectations for them. So even if they do end up there, they'll remember that you said this, like, shit, this guy was right, or this girl was right. So you wrap it up and you're like, you push it way too hard for that. The way that we look at PT is super individualized and progressive. All of our sessions are about 60 minutes long and one-on-one with the doctor to ensure that your care is based on you. Now, this is custom to us because we use PT Everywhere. If you guys don't use PT Everywhere and you don't have this availability, just fill in whatever like you have here. So we have an app that gives you a direct line of communication with your doc, right? So just no waiting on hold or sending emails and never getting a response from your phone right to theirs. And we prescribe custom home exercise videos right on the app as well. So no more of these like crappy printouts that aren't custom to you. Everything that we do is highly customized. To start off, we might do some things like manual therapy or dry needling if appropriate, unless they said they hated dry needling, then don't say that, right? But the idea is that we're going to get you off the table and we're going to get you in the gym as fast as possible. Does that make sense? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And then this is where we really present, right? So this is a transition of solving their problem and why they're going to want to work with us and why the things in the past didn't work. And now we present them working with us. All right, so, John, the way it works is that everybody comes in, they start off with an initial evaluation. And this is a one-off session where obviously we're going to look at your knee, but we're also going to evaluate your body as a whole to figure out exactly what's going on. There are always factors above and below that contribute to the issue. And if you don't address those, then you're missing the boat. So we'll check everything out as a whole. We'll take you through a thorough assessment and determine the root cause of your pain. The main point of the evaluation is to figure out where you're at right now and give you extreme clarity on exactly what the plan is for you. Does that make sense? And they'll be like, yes, right? This is where I'll ask, does it make sense? A couple of times. You can change it out. Does that sound reasonable? Yep. Does that, sound like a good process? Yep. We have pelvic floor, so we just have this little excerpt here. Hey, since you're coming in for pelvic floor, might include an internal assessment. Doc Caitlin feels would be helpful. Then, and you agree and you're comfortable with it. That'll be between you guys though, right? So just like letting them know, preparing them, and it's not. I don't have any. Not my business, whoever is on the phone, but prepping them like, hey, that probably is gonna happen. But it's also not scaring them off. They're like, I absolutely don't want an internal assessment because they don't know what that means. You know what I mean? They don't know how it applies to their care. They don't know anything about it. So it's like, if they feel it'll be helpful and you're comfortable, it'll be between you guys though. Oh, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Does that make sense? They're like, yep, makes total sense. And this is where we get into where we'll get objections. Cool. So the evaluation is just dollars amount, right? The evaluation is just $199, $299, $499. At the end of the evaluation, you and your doc will determine exactly what your plan of care is based on what they find in the evaluation and what your goals are. At the end, they'll explain the entire plan in detail. I'll even whiteboard it out for you. And then they'll be able to let you know the exact cost for the entire plan at that point. Does that sound fair? Like, yeah, cool. So when are we looking to come in? Right? And if they just you schedule them then. And if they press for what does it cost after that, and say, hey, we don't really sell visits. We sell solutions, plans of care that heal people. And, we won't know for sure until, what your plan is until after the evaluation. The cost really just depends on, the plan that you and your doc come up with based on your evaluation and your goals. Does that make sense? They're like, yeah, awesome. Right? People ask that questions a lot just because they want to. They don't know what else to ask. And maybe they want a ballpark, or maybe they are on a budget and they want to know, because like, ooh, that dollar amount times how many visits. And if they're pushing like, hey, what's a plan cost? Like ballpark it for me. Well, the average plan is about, X number of visits and costs X dollars. Again, though, everything is customized based on your evaluation and your goals, and we can't know for sure until we've had a chance to evaluate you. You'll have extreme clarity on the plan and the exact cost of the entire plan at the end of the evaluation, though. Do you want to come in for the evaluation? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And at that point, you can be like, listen, the evaluation is really just a one-off, right? That means that you can come in, you can make an informed decision, you can see if you think we're full of shit, and if you think we can help after that initial visit, you'll know what it costs. And if not, you'll at least know for sure that you don't want to work with us. But I highly doubt that. And they're like, all right, well, I guess I'll come in, right? And then we grab a non-refundable deposit. Once they come in, great, I'm just going to grab a little bit of info, get you set up on our system, and then we'll get your card info to pay for the whatever dollar amount non-refundable deposit that goes towards the cost of your visit. This just gets rid of the no-show evaluations. People will schedule and pretend like they're coming in because they don't want to say, ooh, that's too expensive. Ooh, I don't want to spend the money on that. Because they just spent however long telling you all of their problems and telling you that this is a solution and telling you like why they need to solve it. And now they have to behave in a manner that is incongruent with everything that they just did and said. And people hate that. So they would rather just lie to you, tell you they're going to come in, and then not show up and leave a hole in your schedule. So this is where you get people that are like, oh, I don't have my card. Oh, I have to pay that before I come in. Oh, whatever. And sometimes people don't have a card. And so I was just like, hey, yeah, not a problem. What's a good time to call you back? And you just set the day and time that day to call them back. What you can do also is say, hey, we'll leave this. We'll hold your spot now because we have limited availability, and I'll just call you back at whatever time you agree on to get your card information. But if we don't hear back from you by the end of the day, or we're not able to get a hold of you, we're going to have to take that off the schedule, right? You just set that expectation of like, I'm not playing around. And then they pick up, or they're like, oh, well, yeah, I'll just call you back. Don't call me back because I don't know when or whatever. And then you don't leave it on there. Or you delete it if you do. So then, last thing, just so you're aware, we do have a 24, 48, 72, 106. I'm just kidding. Our cancellation policy that results in a whatever dollar fee for any appointment changes within 48 hours or whatever you have here, right? So that is running through the scheduling and then getting through this insurance obstacle and some objections here. People will call you, and the first thing they ask is, hey, do you guys take my insurance? And that's because they don't know what else to ask. In a good kind of, you want to redirect it. You don't want to just say no. If you say, nope, we're out of network, they're like, okay, cool, thanks, bye. And they hang up. When if you had a better conversation, there's a high likelihood they probably would have come in. Or even if they don't come in, you have a good conversation with them, they go somewhere else, and they remember the time that you took to have the conversation to get to know them before they ever even came in, because nowhere in network is going to do that. Even when they're in there for the visits, nobody's going to do that, right? So people will call and say, hey, do you take my insurance? And it's just ask them what their insurance is. What's your insurance? Oh, unless it's like Medicaid, then you can let them know up front if you want to. Because oftentimes, my experiences, those aren't the best qualified leads. We do have a number of people that are on Medicaid that come and pay to see us, though. So don't discriminate. So what insurance do you have? Oh, I've got Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yeah, a lot of our clients actually have Blue Cross Blue Shield. What are you looking for help with? And then you're not telling them yes or no, you take them, but because you don't, it's not up to you whether they can use their insurance. And this is a good reframe of thinking about this, because it's not that you don't take their insurance. It's that their insurance doesn't have out-of-network benefits. If they have the benefits, they can use them. It's not you telling them that you can't use them. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people have Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's not a lie, right? Whether or not those people get reimbursed, it depends on their specific plan. You'd have to look and call, and it's like, have this conversation first. And then when you get back down to the end of this, and you're like, all right, so, the cost of the evaluation is X, Y, and Z. You tell them this, and then say, hey, I know you were asking about insurance earlier. We're actually an out-of-network clinic, which means that we don't directly take insurance. If you have the benefits, though, like many of our clients do, you can get reimbursed. We also have a lot of clients that decide to come and pay us without using their insurance for whatever reason. You don't say for whatever reason, but we have a lot of people that come and pay us without using their insurance because it's important to them. Being out of network is what allows us to, keep our one-on-one 60-minute sessions and really just get the results that we do. Part of your plan, does include what are called super bills. So you can submit those monthly to get potentially some insurance reimbursement if you have it, but you still do pay up front. Oh, and then just so you know, you can use an HSA, health savings, or an FSA, a flex spending. So when do you want to come in? And then that's all it is. And then maybe you'll go round and round with them, and they have some objections at that point, because really what's going to happen is once they after the price comes out, then it's objection, right? So if somebody calls and this is a conversation you have early on, cool. That's an obstacle that we're overcoming. They don't know what the price is yet. Once they have the price, then they object. I just want to see what my insurance covers first. Yeah, no worries. Just so I understand, though, is having insurance coverage or actually getting out of, back pain more important to you? So then you've got to know, you got to create a dichotomy of you can have one, but you can't have the other. Do you want your insurance to cover it, or do you actually want to get out of pain? Do you want to see Doc Raj, or do you want to get the best result for your knee pain? Whatever the thing is they're having an objection to, you can just create a separation. It's it's insurance coverage is actually more important to me. Gotcha. All right. Well, can I ask you an honest question? Yep. Do you really think that your insurance has your best interest at heart? And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, listen, we agree, right? Which is why we choose not to accept insurance. Insurance is actually, honestly, if you didn't know, the reason why most people don't get better with physical therapy. In most insurance-based clinics, the doctors are overbooked and they're seeing 2 to 4 patients an hour, maybe more. So they can do things that don't get you better, like laying down with the hot pack on, or having you walk on the treadmill, or ride the bike for 10 minutes for no reason when you come in, so they can get their notes done. And then really what ends up happening is the patients get stuck with an exercise tech or aide, which is just usually some kid in college with no formal education running the rehab. Is that the type of care that you want? No. Okay, cool. So, it might make sense for you to come in and see what we're all about. The evaluation itself is a one-off, and if you think we're full of baloney, that's an edit I usually say. If you think we're full of shit, depending on who I'm talking to, then you can let us know and then just not come in for treatment. But I can tell you that we see a lot of people who take the cheap route and then they come back months later after wasting countless hours and lots of money. And then usually there's a surprise bill in the mail for a couple $1,000s from their insurance company not covering what they were told was covered anyways. So, do you want to just shortcut that process and get the care that you deserve the first time? If they're like, nope, well, it's okay. You just let them know, hey, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you that I think that you're making the wrong decision. It's your health and it's your choice, and we'll be here for you, if you don't get 100% better. Because a lot of times people go to those places and they get 60% better, 80% better, right? And they stop going because they still have that thing that just doesn't get better. And if they say, do you want to shortcut the process? And they say yes, I'm like, cool, just get them scheduled, right? That's it. You have to have these hard conversations. A lot of people don't want to go through this because it's uncomfortable for you. But if you are avoiding this conversation because it's a hard conversation and you're uncomfortable, you're actually doing your patients a disservice. Because if you have these open and honest conversations with people that are hard, they will oftentimes make a better choice, right? It just might be something that's foreign to them, and you have to give them a new frame of thinking about things. And then even so, if they still make the wrong quote unquote choice, then they will remember the conversation and they will come back. Don't be a dick, and it won't be received as being a dick. Just be on the same side of the table, right? If you're doing this, you're going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. If it's me and them versus the problem, we're on the same side of the table, the problem's over there, literally, then we're working together to try to solve the problem, and it's a collaborative approach, not a headbutting approach, right? So don't argue with them. Care, be kind, and be compassionate and actually want to help them through this. And if you're going through and it's like, hey, is having insurance coverage or actually getting out of pain more important to you? And they're like, well, getting out of pain. Okay, cool. Let's just shortcut the suffering and wasting your time and your money with the insurance clinics. Just get you the help you deserve the first time. When you want to come in, boom, done, right? Money. So they're like, oh, that's just a lot of money. I was just say, hey, how do you mean? Or compared to what? Because you don't know. That's a lot of money. What does that mean? What does that's a lot of money mean? Does that mean that they don't think it's worth it? Does it mean they don't have the money? Does that mean they just had a really big expense come up and they just remodeled their house and they are all out of options? Like, what does that mean? Like, I've had employees that spend a lot of money on sneakers. To me, I'm not going to spend $300, $400, $500 on sneakers. That's a lot of money. I can't afford that. I don't have that money. No, it's because I don't value it, really, is what that means to me. But people place value on things differently. And I go, well, that's a lot of money. Compared to what? Compared to using my insurance. Gotcha. Then you know, right? I was like, well, is it a lot of money compared to wasting another 6 months of your life and then paying the money anyways? No, right? You can just ask and clarify. And what we really want to do, though, is isolate or what we call pace the first objection. So we want to make sure they don't jump around. Because if you try to solve the wrong problem, like, that's a lot of money, and you're like, oh, well, let's go down the money route. And then they're like, well, I got to talk to my wife about it. Well, now's not the right time. And they just jump from one to the next because you're not uncovering the actual root cause, which oftentimes is that they think that they're going to spend money and not get the result, or it's uncertain, right? So you want to isolate / pace the first objection. So it's just the money then, right? So if we could figure out the money thing, is there anything else that would keep you from moving forward? Nope, just the money. You're sure? Yep, that's it, just the money. Okay, cool. Now they tied it down twice and they said it's just the money. So let's figure out the money thing. All right. It's just the money. Well, I'd have to talk to the wife. Okay, so if you talk to the wife and she was on board, is there anything else that would keep you from moving forward? All right. So we're not trying to handle those objections. It's not the money, it's the wife. Oh, yeah, no, it's just her. If she's on board, like, I'm good to go. Okay, then you know how to do it, right? You know what road to go down. So if it is the money, help them solve the problem. All right, so what options do we have? I mean, honestly, it's not like most of our patients are coming in and paying cash. 90% of them are utilizing a credit card and just paying it off all the time. Do you have a credit card? I do. Okay, you want to just use that? A lot of times people are like, yeah, I could do that. Like, that's the end of it. And if they're like, nah, I don't like using credit. I don't have any money. All right, give them a new frame of reference. No, I don't want to use a credit card. Yeah, no problem. Can I ask you a personal question? Yeah. And I'm just asking to understand a bit more. What would you do if your car broke down tomorrow? Oh, what do you mean? Well, if your car broke down tomorrow, and you had like a $4,000 or $5,000 bill, you need a new transmission. Like, what would you do? Well, I'd get it fixed. But you don't have any money, though. Well, I would use credit. Oh, okay. So is your car more important to you than your body is? No. Well, if you're willing to use credit to fix your car, but not to fix your health, like, your actions don't really align with that. So, I mean, if you really feel that way and you think your body's more important than your car, and you're willing to use your credit to fix your car, then, I mean, let's get you in for the first appointment. Right? And then they're like, well, shit, maybe that does make sense, because you're just giving them a new frame of reference to think from. Another way you could go down is like, listen, you've had this pain for the last 6 years. If you could go back in time and you could pay, you could pay this 6 years ago to not have dealt with this pain over the last 6 years, would it be worth it to you today if you just spent the money then? Yeah. Well, what about in another 6 years? Right? So why don't you just take care of this thing now? Right? And another frame around it is, can I ask you something personal? Yeah. And I'm just asking so I can understand a bit more. Have you ever had like a car payment? Yeah. Have you ever had like a student loan payment? Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So buying a car and going to college were both worth getting resourceful when you didn't have the cash for them, but your health, like, for the rest of your life is not. Is that right? I'm like, yeah, well, when you put it that way, but I'm not putting it anyway. I'm just trying to get an understanding. Is that right? Well, no, it's really important to you. Oh, well, if you really feel that way, like, let's get you on the books for that first appointment. And again, like that, it's a one-off. That way there, at least when you come in and you make this decision, you'll know whether it's worth it or not. Because right now, there's a big question mark, right? Like, what if I spend this money and I don't get better? What then? Well, you'll be able to make an informed decision around that if you come in and actually see what we're all about. Because I'm very confident we can definitely help you. All right, well, I guess we'll see what it's about. And then if it's like, well, no, I got to talk to my wife. Okay, cool. Or my husband. Cool. We talked to the wife or the husband. Anything else? Or like, would you come in? Like, no, it's just, I just got to talk to them first. Most of the time when people put something on their spouse, they don't really have to talk to them. They just are telling you no, and they're blaming somebody else because, again, they don't want to take responsibility for it. So, gotcha. Listen, I can totally respect that. Let's just suppose for a second that you already spoke to them and they said yes. Take care of yourself. Is there anything else that would keep you from moving forward? No. Nope. It's just them. Oh, okay. And then just so I understand, we always want to give the frame of why we're asking the questions. Just so I understand, is it more of like you just want to let them know out of respect kind of thing, or is it like you need their permission to spend the money kind of thing? And if it's a respect thing, cool, right? We can frame that around of like, all right, so is there any reason why they would not want you to take care of your health and get rid of this pain so you don't have to keep suffering? No. Well, you might even start off with before that. So do they know like how bad this is and how long you've been dealing with it? Oh yeah. So is there any reason why they would not want you to take care of your health and get rid of this pain so you don't have to keep suffering? Like, well, no. Well, yeah, this is a lot of money. Well, okay, so if the roles were reversed, would you support them if they just made the decision to take care of their health? Yeah. Gotcha. So, I mean, is there any reason why they wouldn't do the same for you? No. All right, well, if that's the case, let's just get you started on getting that pain, right? And then what works for you to come in? Boom, done, right? And they'll come in. Or you can always say, hey, listen, you know what? If that's really the case, right, we can put something on the schedule, hold that spot. You talk to them tonight. And if they say, you know what, John, I really want you to live the rest of your life in pain, and I want you to suffer and not be able to squat or go up down the stairs, just call us back by the end of the day and we'll refund your deposit. And we'll just part ways as friends. Sound fair? Right? You get the micro commitment. They'll talk to them and you go through it. And it's like, if it's permission, then, clarify, do they really want, well, no, I got to get a permission because it's still putting the decision-making on somebody else. Gotcha. Okay. But I mean, honestly, John, do you want the help? Oh yeah, I do. It's a lot of money. You got to talk to her. Okay, cool. Can I share something with you? Yeah. So if you really want the help, there's like a couple of ways you could have this conversation with them. One is to go and say, hey, I found somewhere I think can help. It's really expensive. Is it okay if I spend the money? In which case they're probably going to say no, right? The other way is to wait until there's a good time to talk them through talk them throughout the day. So it's not like in passing over washing the dishes or something, but like you actually sit down and really have a chat with them and let them know that you've been looking at different options to help with your knee pain, and let them know that you found something that you really think is going to be able to solve your problem. And then you want to make an investment in your health because you feel very strongly this is the best option to help you achieve your goals and to get out of pain. And then let them know too that we have a money back guarantee if you do decide to do a plan with us. If you guys do, cool. If you don't have one, don't say that, right? I would also let them know that you're not making any rash decisions because the first visit, that evaluation, it's just a one-off appointment, and it's going to give you the information that you need to make an informed decision to see if you want to work with us, right? It's completely non-committal, so you can really get a sense of what's going on, and if you think it's going to help before you actually commit to anything. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, all right. So just so I'm on the same page too. When will you have had a chance to chat with them? And if they're like next week, it's like they don't fucking care at that point, right? Like they're they're really not committed. And I like to ask them about it. Like, they probably live with their spouse. It's like, what's going on? Because it doesn't make any sense. You just told me how it's so important to you, and then I'm not talking to them until next week. Well, hold on a second. That doesn't make too much sense to me. If this is that bothersome to you, and you won't even have the conversation with them for a week from now, like, is it really that important to you? Because we only want to work with people. We only like to work with people who take the rehab seriously and want to get better. So, like, we're kind of been chasing them around, and now we're leaning out a little bit. Like, hold on. Like, is it really important to you if it's going to take you a week to talk? Because we really only like to work with people who take the rehab seriously and want to get better. When you lean out a little bit at the right times, people will be like, no. I do. I really want to get better. I want the help. It's just this is going on, that's going on, this is going on, right? Whatever they say. And it's like, hey, listen, it would make more sense if you could find time to have conversation within the next day or two. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And then this I've kind of already touched on a little bit earlier. But you can always ask this too, because it all leads into this, right? Of like, oh, yeah, we're busy. I don't know. Maybe I can talk to them on Wednesday. Or listen, Sean, can I ask you an honest question? Yeah. Is it just nerves, like a little bit of fear? Like, what if I spend the money and I don't get better? Oh, yes, absolutely. I've spent so much time and so much money already, blah, blah, blah. Let them talk. And listen, that's totally normal. If you weren't a bit nervous, there might be something wrong with you. Like, you might be a serial killer, right? Which is a little lighthearted humor there, but it draws them in. Listen, if you knew 100% that it would help, would it be worth it to you? Yeah, like if I knew without a doubt that I would get better, I would spend the money. Okay, well, the evaluation is totally non-committal, but you'll never know unless you come in and experience it firsthand. Then you can make that informed decision on whether, you want to do treatment with us or not. We're the only place that's confident enough to offer a money-back guarantee, and your doc will tell you all about that when they explain your plan of care. But the only thing guaranteed to not help you is not coming in and seeing, at least seeing what it's all about. So you can take the bits and pieces of this stuff, you guys, and you can move it around and play with it. And you don't have to go through every single little thing. This is a lot. It's a lot in one training. But this stuff here, gold. You just have to get over your own insecurities of having these tough conversations and calling people out on their shit. If you do it from a place of caring and a place of trust and commitment and wanting them to get better, then you're going to be able to get through all of this without having the headbutting. Now, you have to have a little bit of emotional intelligence here and know when somebody's just blowing smoke up your ass versus somebody that really wants help and really could use the help to reframe and make the decision to come in and help themselves. The idea, though, again, guys, is that we're not really dealing with all of this. Right? If you're dealing with objections all of the time, and people aren't coming in, you've got to take a look and see where the hell are these people coming from, and how do we get more qualified leads? Or what are we doing in the meantime from when they book a call to when they get on the call to warm them up and prep them and make them welcome and open and want to work with us? There's going to be a subset of people that no matter what you do, they're never going to come in because they're a bad fit, or they really are about to be living under a bridge, or they can't afford it, or, they're just, it's not important to them, and they're not going to spend the money. But most people, when they get in enough pain, or it's been going on for long enough, or it starts affecting things that are the most important to them, they're willing to get resourceful, right? Like if somebody says that they don't have any money, they can't do it, but their car would break down, they could fix it, right? Or if they needed $5,000 to save a family member's life, extreme example, they would probably find it. They'd figure it out, right? We've had people that have done, they've started GoFundMes and stuff like that. People get resourceful when it's important to them. But it is not your job to try to change the people's minds that don't want to come in, that are super price averse. And if you have somebody that is really, really reluctant to coming in, and you force them to come in through verbal jujitsu, then they might not be a great client anyways, right? Think about that as you're going through this. This stuff is reserved for people that you feel strongly are a really good fit, that they just need help working through it. It's not the person that's working at McDonald's, right, that can't afford to pay you. That's not it. We don't go down this objection handling rabbit hole with people that aren't in a qualified financial situation, that aren't our perfect fit. And if you guys are early on in business, then yeah, it can be tough to tell people no. But the more that you hone in on the people that you really like to work with, you have a better time at work. You get better outcomes. You get better word of mouth referral sources, and like you're just happier in general.